Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. I had planned today to talk about carbs and how they're your friend, not your enemy, depending on who you are and what your goals are. But I was kind of sitting here thinking about a bunch of things, and something came up, and figured I could make this more of a mindset or a life podcast talk. Every day of the week or weekly, I make these what I call hit lists. So like Monday hit list, Tuesday hit list, and I write down things that I know are going to happen that I need to accomplish. I write down unique things that come across my desk that need to be addressed within a timely manner. Um, but then just now, going through, the business pages like Facebook Messenger and something else, there was someone I missed, a task that needed to be done pretty quickly that did not, that I'm sure this person is still waiting on an answer for. And it just like threw a dagger at me. And it's being accomplished now. I had to reach out to another party to get the request made. But for a lot of us out there, the reason I bring this topic up is for many of us, there's so many facets of our life that demand our attention and demand that we, get so much done in one day. And for me, the way I sometimes see it is with everything being asked of us that has to be done, typically or sometimes there's going to be one or two things that get forgotten or don't get done. And for me, that makes me feel like I failed that day, or I possibly, especially if it relates to someone else, well, then I failed that person. Um, and again, mistakes happen. Things get forgotten. We're only human. Again, we're only human. So there sometimes there's really only so much we can do. But at the same time, when we make a promise to somebody on any level, when we say we're going to do something, we need to follow through with that. Um, and again, sometimes it's not able to happen right away. Sometimes there's some lag or delay that we need to address, but to always keep the other person informed. So, you know, do I know exactly what I'm trying to hit on here? Not really. But what I am trying to come across is, there are times when, especially right now, there's a lot of things in flux or in transition within my own personal life as far as the balancing of family, military, the gym, um, where I want to take, the sport of paintball within my life, like all these things that I'm trying to balance to bring in harmony. And very often, because of so many things that I'm trying to make a priority or trying to like make sure I hit certain wickets so that I know that I'm moving in the right direction in each piece, very often something of all of those is going to be neglected. Not all of us are Superman. There comes a time where there is a finite limit to what we can and cannot do. Now, over time, we can all develop the capacity to do more, to accomplish more, but not only to accomplish more, but to accomplish more efficiently. Efficiency is the key. Work smarter, not harder. There's a balance there. Working smarter can sometimes be like, well, you're kind of being lazy because you're not working as hard, or maybe you're micromanaging and you're putting that load onto somebody else. And again, there's some dichotomies and kind of multifaceted arguments even within those. But the point is to, especially like in business, especially, so this is key, and especially in the military. So I can relate both of these right now from personal experience. So, and from many others, is say your first couple years in business, you're all, well, you're always going to be stressed, but you're working as hard as you can. You're literally throwing anything and everything at the wall, hoping it's going to stick, trying to do your research. Like you're just going ham the whole time just to keep things afloat, trying to keep things, especially in the year of COVID, um, making sure that just you're surviving and that people are finding you and that you're being exposed in a good way. Don't expose yourself in a bad way. Doesn't work well. Um, Same thing with the military is like your first year to 2 years, like you're pretty much a boot nothing. and you're just working hard. You're just doing anything they tell you to do because you're lowest on the totem pole, and that's just how it's got to go. However, with both, is that within those realms of how hard you have to work, you're also, and you should be, cognizant and aware of how the machine works. How does the fitness industry, or how does a business, or that field that you're in, how does that work? How do those above you work it? How does their boss work it? How efficiently, or what are the systems in place within that, and how fast do you need to learn them? Like, how quick can I pick up on these things so that I'm not a busybody all the time? But if I am a busybody, is it a good busy? I want to say, I mean, it's the start of this week, but last week, yeah, end of last week, I was so grateful it was Friday because I was so busy that entire week. However, it was an extremely good busy. Like, so much positive progression happened. Like, so many good things happened last week that kept me busy and focused and driven. That's a good busy. But if you're busy and all it's doing is just knocking you down and knocking you down and knocking you down, and you don't really feel like you're even getting close to cresting that hill of like, okay, now I can kind of like just take it easy for a little bit and then keep it going. Like, essentially it gets to a point where it's kind of working itself while you're still kind of pushing that rock. It was a good busy. A lot of us out there were like, you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, and all it seems is like that rock is just getting heavier and you're moving slower. We need to work around those things. Okay, military. If you're really watching and paying attention, you're going to figure out, like, especially the unit isms, and you should be figuring out your job or your MOS, and really looking to those leaders or those NCOs that you have that are more proficient or the best at what your craft is. And what if they're, but maybe there's an NCO that maybe he's not the best, but you can tell that he's well rounded across the entire board. And you're going to find all these different personalities no matter where you go in life. So navigating the system to make sure that, like, you're working more efficiently and not just working hard the entire time. I think that's been my downfall in a lot of things, is from a very young age for myself. When I wanted something, I just worked hard for it, which isn't bad. But the thing is, not only did it, one, teach me self-sufficiency, or to be self-sustaining, but on the downside, it also just, I had to work so hard and go alone for so long that I have a very stubborn streak when it comes to accomplishing tasks, because I want to do them on my own, or I want to feel like I'm working so hard, and working hard to me sometimes equate to, oh, I'm doing a good job. The thing is, that's not always true. And I had to, I think only recently in the past couple, maybe few years, started to break that barrier of, hey, just because I'm working hard doesn't mean I'm working efficiently. Doesn't mean I'm working to better or more quickly accomplish the goal that I want. And that comes with, like, having an open mind. Part of it's being humble, sure, but part of it is, like, you have to have an open mind to, like, you don't have all the answers. Even the rich gurus, or business people out there, like, they don't have all the answers. They have quite a lot of answers. They have a lot of things that they've figured out, but they also had to figure out through trial and adversity. It's the same thing with, in life, or in the military. It's like, you should be learning from everyone around you, even the negative examples. And I feel like the more negative leadership examples I've had, I actually learned faster by watching them and being like, nope, I'm not doing that, or that's not how I'm going to act, or that's not how I'm going to treat, a certain situation. Like, that's just not, in my opinion, not right, or the end goal or end state that I see that they were trying to achieve, but the way they went around it or about it was not cool. It turned more people away from being on your side than anything else. But having a balancing act in life can be extremely hard when you feel like you want to accomplish so much. And there's a lot I want to accomplish in this life. And a lot of this podcast is, maybe I'm just talking to myself, but I hope that sometime that this resonates with somebody else out there. Is We have to be smart with the time we have, and we have to approach everything in a very progressive or periodized way. And that's kind of pulling in some training concepts. Is for anyone out there that wants to see true progression and true seeing their goals and desires obtained within a very efficient manner, we have to go about them in a progressive way. We see a lot of times people say around the New Year's. So right now it's January 19th. Tomorrow, apparently, people are thinking it's going to be the apocalypse. You know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to wake up. I'm going to drive. I'm going to teach a group class. I'm going to work out. I possibly have to help a buddy later on. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to play with my kids. That's what's going to happen tomorrow for me. What happens in other parts of the world, I hope everyone stays safe. Hope everyone has a good head on their shoulders, which, I'm going to go ahead and post this tonight. So you guys will, if you're tracking, you're going to hear this tonight before tomorrow's whatever happens. Where was I at before all that? That's why I wish I had somebody else here with me. But yes, so attaining your true goals and desires is, even in a training format, or if you're learning a job, or if you're trying to become a better spouse or partner or whatever, just like the people that come into the new year, new you, whatever. A lot of people try to go in too hard, too fast. Maybe they burn out. Maybe they get hurt. Maybe they're just not seeing the results that they want to as fast as they want to, and they're going to walk away. There wasn't really a plan. It was just kind of go in, go hard, and I'm going to change my life for the better now. Well, the thing is, a lot of people that are deconditioned, or like I heard somebody else say one time, like the Homer Simpson body, which, is one way to talk about it. But if you're a deconditioned personnel, you're going to have to approach yourself in a very different way than, say, the person that's been grinding this out for years. And the new year for them is just, they're going to continue what they were doing. They're in the grind. They're in the trenches. They're fighting after their goals, whatever they are. But maybe they have new goals. But the thing is, it's easier for them to transition because they've already been in that groove. But for a lot of people kind of restarting the engine, as I've always talked about before, that are trying to really come into their own, the thing is, like, you're in like a caterpillar phase. Like, you're at a point where, we just need to start moving forward. We need to start climbing that tree, finding those leaves. Like, we need to do the things that we need to get us to where we can really transition and just become a new you, because you haven't done these before. So everything is new to you. So yeah, new year, new you applies to you. And you should be happy for the grind that you're about to put yourself through, but you don't need to burn yourself out. You don't need to, go super crazy. You need to approach it in a very progressive based way. You need to start slow, start the engine, get it moving 2-3 days a week, walk at least 20 to 30 minutes on your off days or every day, just basic cardio. Then after a few months, a month, 2 months, dial it up. Okay, 1 or 2 months goes by, dial it up again. Throughout the entire year, we can have 12 months of progressive training and cardio and conditioning, to where, holy crap, after a year, maybe you've got that body, you're close to that body, or you have that body finally that you've always wanted. But the people looking for the quick fix and the extreme things and the fad diets, nothing about those teaches sustainability. Nothing about those will eventually teach you what it needs to live a long, prosperous, healthy life. So prioritize the things that are most important. Is it just that you want to see the number on the scale look the way, be that number, but then you look at yourself and maybe that doesn't correlate, and then that shatters you on a whole new mental level? I don't know. It's up to every one of you to figure that out. It's life is progressive. People get upset at other people when they change their opinions, or they change their viewpoints on the things, or they change who they are. It's like, well, here's the thing, guys. Like, we're adaptable creatures. We're progressive based creatures. Like, we can adapt to any stressor or an extreme in our environment if we choose to do so. So again, coming back to, what's a priority for you? How are you going to balance it? Are you trying to do too much? There are times I lie awake at night like, how am I going to make this happen? Like there is nights where like, I really hope to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but I may get like 4 or 5 or less. And I just have to wake up and, because there's things that demand my attention the next day. It doesn't matter if I'm tired. Mission's got to get done. It's a concept that, some of you out in the civilian world that don't work some crazy jobs may never understand is at the end of the day, nobody cares about your problems. Nobody cares what you've got on your plate because they've got their own problems. And nobody cares to really hear you complain about it. I mean, there are going to be those people that you trust that are going to be the open ear, the shoulder to lean on when you need it. Everyone's got to have a battle brother and a battle sister. I fully believe that. Um, Having someone in your corner that you can openly and talk to in a very raw way, but also understanding that that person can do so back to you. That's true trust. Okay, but there's a lot of snowflakes out there that can't take criticism, can't take the hard thing, or just want their ear to be tickled by hearing by knowing that they're going to hear what they want to hear. Going to someone that they quote unquote trust. Okay, if that person you quote unquote trust is just going to tell you what you want to hear, are they really helping you? So you have to have those honest conversations with yourself. Are you doing too much? Can you listen to that person you trust a lot, whether that's your friend, your spouse, your partner, whatever, your family member, and really hear what they have to say and take an open mind to it? Sometimes we're not ready in a moment. Sometimes we're not ready to hear that hard thing and we're going to get a little defensive on it. But once we cool off and we really think about what that person was saying, we're like, oh man, like there's some truth to it. But I mean, not that I may fully agree with them, but there's some truth to it that I need to be aware of. That's winning too. Okay, that's winning. Being more aware of good and bad within your own life is good. You know what it means? It's data. It's data you can use for you. So again, if there's anyone out there, and again, I'm in my second, well, I'm almost come February 1st, I'm almost in my second year of having the gym open. I've learned a lot. I've suffered a lot. I've lost a lot. There's some investments I've made into things here that I definitely flopped on. I didn't have long game thought process on it. I thought here and now we got to do this. Some of those didn't work out. That's a pill I have to swallow. But you know what? You just like in life, here's a nugget for you. And everyone's different, but just like I said, nobody cares about your problems. Here's the thing. You can't waste time wallowing in grief or being upset that something didn't go your way or you lost XYZ. You lost a match or you lost a fight or you didn't get the promotion or you were let go from your job. Like, look, depending on who you are, a lot of those things can hurt a lot. Look, I've been fired or let go, whatever that person wants to call it or that organization wanted to call it. I gave in my 2 weeks and they just pretty much said, well, screw you, you're done. I'm like, oh, okay. It's not how I do it where I came from, but every state law is different. I get that. I've been in a job where I was really good at it. Thought I was going to take on manager, in a little bit. And that was with a pretty national big company. And then all of a sudden the current manager was like, well, your hours and your pay are cut. I was like, that ain't going to work for me, bud. I got a family, I've been let go. I've had business ventures fail. I've had family turn on me for one reason or another. No fault of my own. Everyone's different. Everyone's going to deal with something. And some of those, depending on how close you are to that thing, could hurt a lot. You can take loss hard. Here's the thing. Give yourself some time. Grieve. Feel that emotion, whether you caused it or you're receiving it. All emotion is real. No one is saying to put it away in a box. But here's the thing. You can't stay in that mode. Okay. If a priority that you're seeking out just isn't working and it's hurting or harming more of those around you than what it is you're trying to accomplish, you probably need to cut it loose. But again, sometimes there's that thought of like, well, if I'd gone one more day or one more round or one more rep, like maybe it would have, broken that wall, broken that barrier. Again, everyone's different. But when you lose something, feel it. If you hurt someone, you got to feel it too, bub. this is pretty hard life talk for some people out there. You know, when I got let go, quote unquote, from a couple jobs, and again, with no negative paperwork, it's just organization said one thing and here it was. And that pissed me off. I was pretty angry. I was pretty upset with that, despite what I felt like I brought to the table. Thing is, though, like, what good was it going to do me? What good was it going to do my wife and kids for me to stay pissed off? Okay. I got that news about mid morning, midday. You know, I kind of like let myself feel it for, you know, the rest of that day. But you know what? That next morning I woke up, or actually by that night, by that evening, I had a game plan. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm making my own LLC. I'm going to do this on my own. I know how to do this. I don't need a big global gym. I don't need a commercial facility telling me how good I am. I know how good I am. I know what I can do for other people. I know I can change lives. I've done it before. I've remote coached. I've coached in person. I've coached groups. Okay. I am not in any way lacking in confidence standing in front of people, or even being real, being me, being raw. Okay. If I mess up in front of a group, I own it. If I said something wrong, I own it. You know, if there's something more for me to learn, I own it. You know, like I'm now a part of a company online where I'm one of their athletes, off the leash training with Patty Gleason. Runs a fantastic facility out of Washington State. He's also a professional paintball player. I've been following him for quite a while and finally decided to mix things up and add some of his workouts into my current regimen, so that I have just less to think about as far as what I want to accomplish on a personal level. But at the same time, I'm essentially paying for an internship to learn, and he knows it. We've talked about it, and he's fantastic to communicate with. He's fantastic to learn things from. He'll answer questions. Okay, but it's part of my priorities to invest in myself and invest in the business. And the thing is, all I'm doing here is I'm bettering myself on a personal level with what I want to accomplish through him. But at the same time, through OTL or through Off the Leash, I'm also learning how to be a better coach and a trainer and an owner. You know, so it's all positivity. So again, if you have a priority, seek it out. Seek out how you can better yourself, and learn how you can best prioritize how to get it all done. Now, there are some things on my hit list every day that are things that I need to do, but don't have to happen in any type of a time frame, and that's okay. The thing is, it will get done. There's just things in life that, like today, it just kind of came to a head that I felt like I wanted to talk about. Is, you know, just between all those facets that I deal with sometimes, between the business and having my clients, whether remote or in person, tracking all of their stuff, especially since the business is growing. I've gained 2 more clients in person. I've gained a few more online. Now that I'm in a certain leadership position within my unit, there's a lot that demands of me outside of my drill weekends that I don't get paid for. You know, and as far as I know now, like the Marine Corps is one of those few places that's a norm. You know, if things like a lot, like, and we're talking some mass amount of time, sometimes Zoom calls, sometimes mentoring people through certain courses. Like, I would say on average in a week, I'm spending an extra 8 to 10 hours each week or every other week doing something with the unit outside of wearing the uniform as far as the drill weekend goes. You know, then there's my family. Got a wife, 2 kids, 2 dogs, you know, things we're trying to accomplish as a family, things we're trying to set goals for to improve our situation, helping support my wife and her own fitness goals and then her business goals as she runs her own thing. Like, it's multifaceted. And again, I say all this not for pity, not for like, oh, you know, bless you and what you do. No, like, someone out there's got a much harder situation. I don't have the hardest situation. I don't go through the hardest hardships. Someone out there is sucking through a much harder straw in life than I am. Okay. And that's what keeps me focused, is like, as hard as I think it is, someone out there's got it worse. Someone out there is feeling it more. But there's also someone out there working harder. There's also someone out there making more money than I am. That's an obvious one. That's a fact for right now, guys. But 2021, it's going to be like any other year, and I'm going to work hard. COVID, new presidency, I don't care. Only thing I can control is me, my life, my family. Well, me and my wife are like a team. So anyway, that's enough rant for one day. I hope everyone understood, like, balancing priorities and understanding what needs to be done to get the mission accomplished. Okay. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I might drop another episode later this week, depending on time. I've also got some practice this Saturday to get to now that I can finally get back to the fields. But maybe I'll kick that card one later, but that will definitely be the next one. Anyway, thank you all for listening in. Sorry if I bored you. Keep powder dry.